Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel for those who've subscribed. If you haven't, please have a look through the back videos. I hope you'll enjoy them and you may consider subscribing. So what are we going to look at? Well, this is the model that I picked up at the weekend. I couldn't resist it. It was covered in grime and dirt and muck. The results of obviously many years of neglect and operating a diesel engine, which tend to be very dirty engines anyway. So I've cleaned it up to a large extent. There's still little bits of grime that aren't going to come off, but I'm quite happy to leave them actually, because I think it sort of adds to the patina in the age of the model. So what have I done? Well, if we look inside, I've started the process of installing the radio gear. The push rods were already, they were still there. If I turn everything on, they were still in place, and as it turns out, they were spot on in terms of length. You'll notice, there we go, rudder control, elevator control. I will increase those throws, I think, but as they are, it's working. You'll notice that the tail is held on with rubber bands. I had considered removing that and gluing the tail on permanently, but I want to try and keep it as much to the prototype design as possible. This is the Red Zephyr, by the way, built, I think it was either 1936 or 37, so it's got quite an age to it. So the task today is to install the engine. And with that in mind, this is the engine I'm going to use. I got it from an old friend who's no longer with us, sadly missed. It's an US 48. A friend's got one of these with a 40 engine in, and it just goes ballistic. So it'll have more than enough power. I've cut out and made a plate to accept the engine, and it's been sprayed and fuel proofed. It's in plywood, and also it's actually a fiberglass plate laminated together for strength. That fits in there. There are retaining nuts built in, and the engine will be mounted on here, and then the whole thing's going to be bolted down. The tank that came with it for a diesel engine was this brass thing, and the only problem I have, well, two problems. First of all, no clunk. So not that I'm going to be doing any inverted flying or looping with this model, but the more serious problem's been pointed out to me by a fellow YouTuber and club member, Mark Robinson. Check out his channel, it's excellent, especially if you're into vintage. He said that nitro fuel can attack the alloys that make up these copper, and he said he's experienced or seen other people experience tanks that have split. So that'll have to be put to one side and used for when I'm running diesels in the stand, I think. And the next task is going to be to get this tank into that space. It's a bit like the line from Apollo 13, isn't it? So I'm going to have to cut out the back of this firewall so that I can slide this in, hopefully. And then I'm going to have more than enough. I could fly for half an hour on this thing. It's a 270cc tank. Not sure what that is in ounces. But there you go. That's the task. I'll crack on with that, and then we'll come back when we're a little bit further on. Last little wiggle. Pause it there. There we go. That's the rear bulkhead chain drilled out. I now need to just join up the dots, so to speak. I can remove that plywood, and then it'll be a case of filing, sanding and cutting. Hopefully this tank's going to fit. Well, there you go. After much cursing and a few profanities off screen, we don't upset YouTube, I've now got this sorted so that it'll accept the tank. Here we go. Honestly, it will. There you go, in. Push them through there. Colour-coded air, fuel, feed. And then that goes in like that. That leaves room at the side for the push rod. And I'll also pack this with sponge to reduce vibration of the tank and frothing of the fuel. This will clear it, I hope. Yep, I'll have to think out a mechanism for locking that in place. I may use like a tongue and a couple of magnets, I think. A dowel and a couple of magnets should do the trick. That means I can put the engine mount in with the engine on. And here's the engine. And I need to put a hole on this side to allow for the choke. So we're getting there. Look at the state of this table. It's typical of me. I never tidy up as I'm going along until it gets to the point where I can't find anything. I don't think I'm going to change my habits now. Just one little thing. I just thought about it. I've chain drilled this out. And what I mean by that is, if this is a line you want to drill, when you're drilling it, you don't try and get the next, if that's one hole, you don't try and get the next hole right up to it, because what will happen is the drill will just wander. The trick is this: drill, leave a double space, drill again, and so on, all the way around the shape that you want. Then come back and you can drill between the two, and it'll hit without, or with the much reduced risk of wandering. And that's how I drilled out this circle here and the aperture here. So I hope that's useful to people. What I'm going to do now is get this hole drilled through for the choke, touch up the paintwork, and give it a fuel proof with the 2-part epoxy in the engine bay, any new exposed wood. And then I'll push on and get the control horn attached. And then this is ready to fly. And of course, I'll share the maiden with everybody when that time comes. Thanks for watching. Take care. If you can get flying, do so. If you can't, let's get creative and get the maximum we can out of this hobby. Bye for now.